Hello and welcome. Welcome to the program Spiritism Inspiring Lives. Today's theme, negative vibrations. These reflections, brief reflections, will be based on a perspective of holistic view of ourselves as we are all immortal beings. So hopefully these brief reflections can help us in our self-analysis, self-reflection, deepening our self-awareness, and also whatever we discover throughout these explorations, that we also may find out how we can heal ourselves, how we can promote ourselves. So let's start understanding that negative vibrations refer to low vibrational frequencies associated with negative thoughts and emotions, which can impact our well-being and overall quality of life. So it's important to start to analyze when we are having or dealing with negative thoughts or emotions, how that impacts our physical body. So we also can act in terms of recovering ourselves. Because negative vibrations are often linked to feelings of fear, anger, sadness, and anxiety. These emotions resonate at a lower frequency compared to positive emotions like love, joy, and peace. When individuals experience negative thoughts or emotions, they can create a heavy, draining energy that affects not only their mental state, but also their physical health. That is because we, as immortal beings reincarnated on the planet Earth, we are three-dimensional beings. That is, a spirit, the perispirit or the astral body, and the physical body. So when we, who are essentially psychological and emotional beings, are in a negative vibrational state of mind, that can reflect or impact our physicality. So let's look at signs of negative vibrations. Fatigue or exhaustion, feeling constantly drained without a clear reason. Surely, we will always analyze if we do have any biological disease or illnesses that we need to look at. But once that has been checked, let's look in our psychic level, what we are nourishing ourselves with. And another sign of negative vibration is mood swing. Are we dealing with mood swing? Experiencing rapid fluctuations in mood can signify accumulated negative energy. Everything that we nourish ourselves with, the positive or the negative energies, meaning the positive or negative thoughts or emotions, will impact us. So when we deal with the mood swings, one of the causes could be our negativity or instability on the mental and emotional level, which we need to become aware of so that we can choose freely to re-educate our thoughts, choose to understand that despite be aware of negative thoughts, we can change that, we have that ability. In that way, cleansing our own energy. Another sign of negative vibrations is physical symptoms, frequent headaches. Again, first, let's find out the clinical causes of it. But once that is okay, let's look on the psychological and emotional then. Another sign of negative vibration, so frequent headaches, digestive issues, or any unexplained illness may arise from a low vibration energy. It usually saturates the chakras corresponding to the biological organ, which then becomes weaker and can manifest some illnesses or health issues. And another sign of negative vibration is the difficulty concentrating. We can also ask ourselves, where I am with my concentration ability? Have I learned to focus, to discipline? Because that comes down to clear mind, clear thoughts. So difficult concentration, trouble focusing on tasks can indicate a glutted mind filled with negative thoughts. All the reflections aim for us to get to know ourselves more, and at the same time also to compromise ourselves in the healing process, because it requires changing. It requires taking the autonomy of our thoughts. In other words, a responsibility. Whatever happens outside us or inside us that we bring from our unconscious level, we always have the choice on the conscious level to renew it when necessary. So, understanding vibrations. At its core, everything in the universe is composed of energy that vibrates at different frequencies. This includes our thoughts, emotions, and interaction with others. Positive vibrations typically elevate our mood, enhance our well-being, and foster connections with others. Conversely, negative vibrations can drain our energy, disrupt emotional balance, and manifest in various health issues. There is the need, when we focus on our healing process, that we break this circle of negativity, of judgment of self and others, of rigidity, because usually when we are dealing with our negativity, negative thoughts and emotions, quite often we are also dealing with our rigidity. So breaking the circle is fundamental to work on, or learn to work on, self-awareness and acknowledgement of our own thoughts and feelings, so that we can then go to the second step, to renew them, to change them. The first step is combating negative vibrations is awareness, taking responsibility for what I think. A lot of us, when we say that with respect, we haven't been trained or educated since children, since our childhood, to pay attention to what we are thinking. But we can do that in any moment as long as we wish to do that. It requires effort. But this effort is part of the healing action. Recognizing when you are subjected to negativity, be from external resources or internal dialogues, is essential to change. Are we aware what we think? Because the way that we think it is, or in a dialogue, is it constructive or is it negative? How do we feel? Heavy or animated, lighthearted? Those are simple questions that we can start to ask ourselves with. And in that way, presenting these few points of reflection here, I would like you to invite to go further with the thoughts of the benefactor, Irmão José, in the book Amor e Sabedoria, when he explores these themes, negative vibrations. And he starts by saying to us, if you do not offer receptiveness, no harm directed at you can reach you. I find it extremely empowering. If you do not offer receptiveness, meaning if we, me and myself and all of us, do not open ourselves, are not available, in other words, if we are responsible for our own negative thoughts and emotions, we create psychic healthy boundaries. Therefore, we are not receptive in the possibility of receiving somebody else's negative thoughts and feelings. Because on the planet Earth, we are all learners. We are all imperfect, essentially valuable human beings, but we are imperfect with the possibility to perfect ourselves. So we don't have to control what other people think and feel about us, but we can learn to have 100% of control what we think and feel, and what we do, what we perceive that comes from the external world. That is the internal autonomy, as Irmão José is telling us here. No harm directed at you can reach you. Because once we promote through constantly be aware and sustaining our thoughts in a constructive way, and way I say in a constructive, positive way, it is not a false positivity. The constructive, positive way are thoughts, belief systems according to the universal code of harmony. Everything which is aside of that, it disharmonizes ourselves. So we actually are creating the internal boundary on our psychological, emotional, mental and emotional, or on our moral, ethical level, from inwards out. As more as we promote the goodness within, the ability to forgive, the ability to look at everyone as a essentially loving being who is evolving. As long as we choose to enlighten our own shadows, to take the responsibility for them, what we think and feel, we are enlightening us, we are promoting us, we are growing, we are developing ourselves towards goodness. And as more as we practice goodness in terms of sustaining thoughts and feelings and actions, that is the greatest power that everyone carries within, and we are protecting ourselves. That does not mean that we may not have challenging moments. No, we will, because we attract them. And we need them in order to testify, to sustain ourselves within the continuous promotion of goodness, which we choose on our pathway of evolution. And then moving forward, the negative vibration capable of reaching you is only the one you tune into. Irmão José is a spiritual benefactor, teaching humanity, helping us to understand ourselves. So be attentive. Oh, hello, Polly. Welcome. Good to have you with us here. It's well good to study together. So when Irmão José says the negative vibration capable of reaching you is only the one that we tune into, meaning that we need to expand our self-awareness. Be attentive on a daily basis. What we think about other people. Bear in mind that the others are our positive mirror where we can see our negativity if we are not conscious of. Understanding that currently on Earth, as we all are, in this phase that the planet Earth is evolving, but there is a lot of negativity right now in this moment. So we also, from a spiritual perspective, we understand that God, the Divine Father, who loves us all, allowed a lot of brothers and sisters to come back to the school Earth, to have the last chance, to also to choose, to decide, to move towards light, also to choose to do goodness, also to choose to forgive and to cooperate for the education of a better world, which depends on each one of us. But some may not be willing to do that because they still are identified with the old self, with the old tendencies which are rooted in pride and selfishness. But even if that is the case, which is, no one is obliged to fall back in a lower sphere in terms of thoughts and emotions. We all have the responsibility, which is the internal autonomy for us to be very attentive on a daily basis. So in case we notice any negativity, that we, in taking the responsibility, change that. We can even use a prayer. We can use the ability on a daily basis to train our minds and hearts that we freely choose to tune into goodness, which means tuning into the connection with our spiritual benefactors, which we all have. They are always there to help us, but they wait for us to be receptive. We have the ability to do that. And as we move on here, Irmão José says, the best way to escape all influence of darkness is to place yourself under the permanent protection of the light. How do we do that? Oh my God, help me, bless me, keep me surrounded by light. No. We all are divine creatures in essence, and it is down to us because we have the free will to choose to be moving within light. So how do I do that on a daily basis? Someone can ask. Each time when we realize, for instance, that I may be hating someone, or maybe disliking someone, or I may be in a move that I just gossip about others, because gossip or slander is cruelty. So when I notice that, so I already learned. Let's me stop. Let's me forgive myself. Let's forgive others. And let's train, practice gentleness, forgiveness, tolerance, fraternity, solidarity, brotherhood. Let's develop, imprint our minds with the realistic perspective that we are all brothers and sisters in humanity. That is the greatest understanding. So why fight with others? Why keep bitter in relation to other people's choices or behaviors if we know that we will disincarnate, but we keep alive, and everyone will be responding what we did here, and sooner or later all this indifference, all this cruelty, or all this lack of fraternity, that will fade away once we awake within and choose to become better people, better beings. Let's start today. Let's start now. Never forget the power in the here and now. Moving on, the hatred of all people is powerless against the love of just one. I find it extremely powerful. I repeat it again. The hatred of all people is powerless. Meaning doesn't have any power against the love of just one. That means that God created us unique, and we have the free will. We can choose to love despite not be loved by others, because that is secondary. We can choose on daily basis, especially in this moment where we are learning on earth. Be attentive where we are tuning in. Pray more. Wish more the light of Jesus to spread towards earth and all of those who are with us. Let's train and practice our minds in relation to brotherhood. In case we observe any prejudice that we may bring within, let's fade away, let's change, let's educate ourselves. Let's see every individual beyond their dresses, beyond their cultures, beyond their society status. Let's promote ourselves that we can look in the eyes of every human being from a spiritual perspective, from the soul level, from the essence level. That is a training, that is a practice, and that is the self-protection in relation to eventual darkness that may come around and is around these days, because a lot of people on earth, spirits, and even those from the spiritual world, are in these currents, dark currents, but we can be free of them. It's almost like, let's imagine that the majority see and we tune in, there is our responsibility in darkness. But when you see a lot of people in the darkness, hate, gossip, slander, and we choose to promote ourselves, we grow out of that inferiority, dealing and healing our own shortcomings. We can do that. And Irmão José continues by saying, think and act for good, and you will attract the good you deserve. That reminds us the law of cause and effect. Whatever we offer to the universe, through the people, through the situation in our daily existences, will come back to us, even if it's not right now. Don't give up if you are practicing goodness from a genuine perspective, and people around you may not recognize that. Carry on practicing, because we are here to test ourselves, to compromise with ourselves, to be clear in what we are choosing, which is to expand goodness within and around us. We will never regret that, either in this existence or in others. If you seek to live under God's protection, no one can cause you the slightest harm. God is love. But Evanise, someone can kill me, the body, but not the soul. God is love. I will continue alive. God loves me. God protects me. If someone understands to live according to the divine laws in the universe, which are equal for every soul, for every being, when we are maturing ourselves, we understand that that for itself is not a guarantee, that people may not slander about us, that people may be dishonest. That could happen. But that will not affect us, because our understanding through self-awareness promotes us beyond the shortcomings of others. And the practice of goodness is translated into self-love and love others, as Jesus is asking us more than 2,000 years back when he said, love one another as I love you. The love heals everyone and everything in our existences, in our journey towards light. As more as we put effort into, as a free choice, to enlighten our own shortcomings, our own shadows, that is, our own imperfections, we are promoting ourselves towards light, towards goodness, and towards love. And therefore, our vibrations, they will become good, vibrant, lighter. Therefore, as a consequence, we will become more healthier mentally, emotionally, and biologically. Bear in mind that every effort that we put into in our healing process, in our evolution process, is imprinted in our perispirit, in our astral body. And despite we go through the natural phenomenon of physical death, we carry on alive, and we carry with us these internal powers, these internal resources, which we keep on adding, building, because we are becoming wiser and wiser in understanding the natural laws in the universe. And surely we want to improve, we want to get better, we want to educate ourselves so that our thoughts are more aligned with the goodness for everyone. It's not about selfish way of thinking. It is about to become more altruistic. I hope these reflections may enlighten you a bit, and I hope to see you soon as we're coming to the end today, and I wish you much peace. Take care. Bye-bye.